Hey everybody, it's Jang here from jangbricks.com with a look at a classic Lego space set. This one's called the Alpha 1 Rocket Base. It came with 187 pieces and it was released in 1978. That's back when minifigures were new. These are actually some of the first minifigures ever made. So this is a full-on play set, and I'm going to start with just the base itself. Take the vehicle out of the way for a moment. Give you guys a look at this from some different angles so you can see just how it's built up. It's built on one of these beautiful original base plates from the Space series with the nice moon crater texture to it in one corner. These really help to define the theme of the age and just the classic space stuff in general. I loved these, and this one's in really good shape too. It has not a lot of scratches on it. It has that original texture. It's not really worn down. Nice use of the transparent yellow pieces around this thing, and you've got your large rocket launch pad over here with some interesting pieces used on this. So let's take a closer look. First, let's look at the control command center over here, and it has a couple of different prints. I believe that the left and right ones may be from a different age, the two of them, because I did get this used, and sometimes the ages of parts get mixed up a little bit. But you can see there's a slight difference to the thickness of the Cartesian cross in there on the left versus the right. This one's also worn just a little bit, but still it was a slightly different print. And you got the computer monitor in the center there, and plenty of light coming in there because it's got the windows on all sides. And then up here on the roof, you've got a satellite dish for communication, and that can rotate around. Has a nice amount of detail to it. Kind of makes it look a little beefy, you know, and it's also able to elevate so you can properly track a satellite. Maybe it's actually going to be launching a satellite, and you can track that and its communications or communication stream from this exact dish. Now, speaking of the satellite that you can launch, there it is right there on the tip of the rocket. So you can actually take this off. Once you launch this thing into space, you can take this off. Sorry about the blocking right there, but that is your payload basically. It's just external. It has some lights on it, you know, just to show that it's alive from an electrical kind of perspective, and you just put that up and it will hopefully be collecting some data or just acting as a bit of a relay. Now that's on the tip of this rocket, which is pretty tall, and you can see it's got the nice launch platform. Comes down to here, has a nice little base where it'll actually attach to the base via studs. And then you've got a refueling section over here. So the idea here is you put in the two chemicals separately that will be used for fueling this thing up. And then there's also a tube that goes up to here, and you can see the use of 4 of these faucet pieces with the blue base and the original light gray top. It's actually a 2-piece piece. They're pressed together, and this stuff here, this is rubber. This is rubber hose. It's very flexible, and you kind of just push it over the ends of these nozzles or faucet outlets. Really doesn't fit properly. It just stretches over. It could be debated that that's not really a legal technique, but they did it, so they made it official. I guess that's used for fueling or maybe for cooling or heating or something. I don't know, but it's related to all this, and you can bring this all away. When it's time to launch, you pull this back because it's hinged down there. Pull all of this back, and then that just gives you the full view of the rocket. And of course, you got to kind of get it unhinged from the studs at the base, but then you launch it off and you've got a successful mission. On the ground, for the ground crew, you've got this fueling truck, and it has a driver here. Let me actually take the driver out with his pants, and there you can see that they've got another one of these printed pieces back here, so you know, you can keep track of what's going on with the rig. Maybe the pump is in that section there also. And small little wheelbase. It's got the nice ball jointed hinge in the middle, so this becomes really a trailer. This is like a tractor section. Of course, you have to have an antenna for communicating back with base to let everybody know what's going on at all times. This is kind of the valve to turn the fuel delivery on and off. A couple of lights on the sides, and again with the rubber hose. So here you've got 2 of them, and I'm assuming that the idea is that you've got, you know, 2 two types of fuel, or two parts of fuel, one the oxidizer and one the main fuel source, and that is going to allow you to hook both of these up to the two little spigots at the base of the launch platform, and when you're done, you just fold them back away. They don't really have a good place to go. This is actually how they show it in the instructions. You just kind of cross these and they stay in place, and that's it for your little fuel truck. And you could use this for other things if you want to separate this out and just use this as a rover for going around the surface. Here are the Minifigs, and I've got to say I am suspicious of the torso on this one. I believe that torso is from the 80s because the gold on the front there just has no wear on it at all, so it's probably one of the newer versions. However, all three of these guys have the correct original helmets, the thin chin strap helmets, the original ones that were first released. So those, I mean, that's the most important thing here, and those are period appropriate. So that is awesome to get those with this old original set. Like I said, from the first year when Minifigs, fully designed Minifigs as we have them today, were originally released and unveiled to the world. This was one of the sets in which they were actually unveiled during that first season. Let's take a look at these from the back. You can see their air tanks, a little bit of yellowing on the main bodies. The air tanks are made of a slightly different plastic, so they would age differently. I don't know if these are appropriate, if these are actually from the 70s or from the 80s. I don't know of any mold differences between the 70s and 80s releases of those, but you can't tell just from the difference in color. It's just from the difference in material. But classic original stuff, and a couple of colors here with some things to work with. The always present walkie-talkies, great little things. They've changed a little bit over time, and this guy's got a wrench for just doing some work. Maybe he would actually use that to connect the nozzles for fueling up the rocket. This was a pretty serious set back in the day. Anything that came with a base plate was. But by today's standards, you look at this and it looks pretty just small and cutesy. And that's exactly why classic space stuff remains classic and not outdated and old. People still love this stuff because it's just cool. So I enjoyed building this thing up. I'm really happy to have this set, and I'm happy to have been able to share it with all of you. Of course, I have more classic space reviews on my channel, and more will be coming up in the future, as well as all the new stuff. You can follow all my reviews at my blog at jangbricks.com, and also see other updates of stuff that's coming up, as well as custom builds that I'm working on. Speaking of which, I'm going to get back to building, so I'll catch you later.